everyone, welcome back to Swift with Serhan. Today we are going to achieve and see how we can implement the one-to-many relationship between two models basically. But before starting the implementation, I want to have a little bit recap about what we have achieved so far. As you remember, on the very first of episode of SwiftData series, basically we went through CRUD operations, saving, deleting, and reading the data. And I want to show you how the application was working. If you want to add a new item to the list, this is important. Call the doctor, for example. This is an important task that we need to achieve, and it's automatically added to the to-do list. And obviously, if it is done, we can mark it as done, and obviously we can delete it if it's necessary. And coming into the relationship, one-to-one relationship that we have achieved in the previous episode, I want to mention about the delete rules. Here we have delete rule when we are defining the relationship. As we know, if you have an experience about the SQL databases, when we are having a relationship, basically we can define some rules when the owning object is deleted. Actually, for example, here when we delete the task, are we going to delete the category that keeps the category of this task as a in a relationship basically. So we have four types of deletion rule. One is nullify, the other one is cascade, the other one is deny, and no action. So I want to have a small comment in the code, so when I push it to the Git, you will have it ready. So about the relationships, when we delete them, as I mentioned, we do have nullify, cascade, and deny, and no action. Nullify means set the relationship to nil without deleting the related objects actually. So what it does, that it sets objects to the nil without deleting actually. So cascade deletes the related objects when the owning object is deleted. For example, as I mentioned here, when we delete the task here, it will also delete the category that belongs to this specific task. Deny means actually prevents of deletion of owning object if it has a relationship. So when we are trying to delete this task, it won't give us so it won't let us to delete it because there is a relationship with the category. So, and no action, take no action when owning object is deleted, actually when task is deleted in this case. Useful when no action, takes no action when the owning object is deleted, useful for handling related objects manually. Basically, when you delete the task, and if you want to delete the category that belongs to this task, you can do it manually by this delete rule. These are the four types of delete rules that I wanted to emphasize and talk about. And let's go to the not list view. Here maybe I didn't mention about the query and fetch descriptor and predicate. Basically these are kind of rule, as you remember, if you know actually in SQL database you do select from task table where node is done. Actually, this is a predicate, this is a rule. You want to bring only the tasks that are not completed for the incompleted tasks that are under the to-do section, and these are for this predicate, and this variable is for the tasks that is done actually, and it will bring the completed tasks and make it show it under the done section. These are using the query macro basically. This is a new way of apart from core data. Obviously I didn't mention about the core data, but This is the new way of sending requests to the database of our phones actually. um, so these queries or query macros are making things easier for us. And animation, basically it's the animation, when you want to apply animation or during the fetch. Basically when you indicate the animation, when the query happens, the list will be filled with the snappy animation. So this is what I wanted to emphasize and indicate, or the recap. Maybe these are important points that I didn't cover in detail in the previous episodes, and basically I just wanted to mention about them. So without further ado, I hope there is no question marks anymore about all these code that I mentioned so far. Without further ado, let's go and achieve one-to-many relationship where we're gonna have a many categories and one task that will contain many categories. I just wanted to have one more example for you how we can achieve one-to-many relationship. And obviously there is another relationship type, which is many-to-many relationship, where many tasks can hold many categories. But for this series I will not include for this specific relationship, but I wanted to show you an example about one-to-many relationship. So without further ado, again, let's create our views and the models, because we are gonna have a different model, so that we will not have a conflict. And if you want to see the source code in future on the GitHub, so that you will be able to see it separately and understand it separately. So we're gonna have a two different models, which will be node and task again, but we're gonna rename them. Sorry, node and category. We will have a new renamed models. One will be let's add a new empty file. One will be node one to many dot swift, and the other will be category one to many, so that we will separate it from the one-to-one relationship, to show you a specific example for one-to-many. Good. So our models are will be keep the almost the same data, but let's type them one by one, so that we can see what's going on. Import SwiftData. Since we are dealing with SwiftData, obviously we will import SwiftData, and foundation is necessary for the date type actually. Model class mode one-to-many is gonna inherit the identifiable. As I mentioned before, identifiable is necessary for the list, because we are using list here, so it should be identifiable for each, that takes the unique identity to indicate any changes within the items. For example, when we delete them, or when we, I don't know, modify them, so that it will only render the related item on the list. So this is a specifically for important to know in SwiftUI. We're gonna have an attribute dot unique var id UUID. We're gonna have again content, which is going to be a string. Just a minute. And we are going to have an is done flag, and we are going to have the date time added actually. Date time added. And yeah, before actually continuing, I mean, we will create a relationship, but the other model, which is category one-to-many, should be ready. So let's have a init method for now, and we won't accept ID. We don't want ID because we're gonna give it a default value. String is done. Boolean type, and categories, which we don't have it right now, and self.id is gonna be equal to a unique identifier, UID type of the Swift language. Content, we will pass it from the constructor. Self is done. It's going to be passed by the constructor as well. Self.date time added, and we're gonna have default date for today's date. Yeah, there's no actually difference between the node model right now, but we're gonna define a relationship. That's why it's gonna have a difference, obviously. But let's compare it with the node. So as you can see, there's no big difference. Obviously here there's a relationship, one-to-one relationship, which we will have a one-to-many relationship actually. Let's create our category one-to-many model as well. We're gonna import SwiftData. We're gonna import foundation for the date. We are using date type, that's why. Model class category one-to-many is gonna obviously inherit the identifiable, and our ID, so it's gonna be attribute unique var ID UID type. We're gonna have it var category type row value. Since we cannot keep the enums in the database, we're gonna save actually the category row type to our database so that we can compare with the enum. Okay, and that's it actually for the category. We're gonna have, obviously we're gonna create the relationship, so it's not really the end, but category type, it's gonna be category type. We're gonna accept the category type from the constructor, and we're gonna have category row value and row value, which will be initializing the string value actually of the category type, which we achieved last time, implemented last time actually. Let me show you. Category type, let's say enum type with the row value of string. So our two models are ready, and we are ready to create our relationship between two models. Yeah, so here we're gonna have one node, okay, and in node one-to-many we're gonna have more than one category that will belong to this specific task. Okay, so how we are going to achieve this relationship? We're gonna use again relationship annotation for the delete rule. Again, I'm gonna use cascade because when the task is deleted, node is deleted, I want the category to be deleted together. Cascade and inverse of category one-to-many belongs to. We didn't create actually this variable yet, but we're gonna create it soon. Categories, and it's gonna be category one-to-many equal to empty array. Okay, if we don't have any obviously item, we're gonna have an empty array. So when we switch to our category one-to-many model, so what we're gonna do is just we're gonna define another relationship here. Actually, it's gonna be like bind to each other. That's why we need to define this relationship here as well. Relationship and var belongs to, and node one to many can be nullable actually, and we're gonna add it to the constructor here, belongs to, and node one to many is equal to nil by default, and we can instantiate it here. Belongs to the node passed by the constructor. It's important actually to know this. We will pass the node here as a parameter, so that the category would know to which task it belongs to. Okay, that's why we defined this relationship here. And also in OneToMany we're gonna have the category variable. We're gonna accept the category variable as a parameter, within this constructor. So let's start writing it actually. So it's gonna be categories, and category OneToMany, and if it's not defined, it can be an empty array. Obviously this is what we don't want, which is and passing an empty array, but it's possible. I just wanted to do it in this way. Also I want to accept the date time here as a parameter, because we can in future I want to pass the our selected date time. I mean in next series what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add let user to select the date, because for example you want to make a task to create a task today which will be completed in 1 week, for example, so that user can define a date for their specific tasks. So that's why we are preparing it now. Date time added, date, and I'm gonna pass the default date for now, and let's put comma here, and let's define date time added here, instantiate. So our models are ready, and we are ready to create our UI and see how it works actually. Before continuing creating our UI, actually recently added models should be added, I mean should be included in our schema and inside the container. So category, or node OneToMany.self, category OneToMany.self. Okay, so let's continue creating our view. We're gonna create a new file from template. It's gonna be SwiftUI view, and we're gonna rename it as node just a minute, node list OneToMany view basically. And we're gonna have obviously child views, which are going to be node row view OneToMany, node row view OneToMany, and we're gonna import SwiftData. You can create a new file either from template or a new empty file. For me, creating a new empty file is much simpler, so that I can fill it up by myself. But the UI is ready for me, since it's not related with the UI. The things that we are doing is not related with the UI, because specifically this code and this content is important to focus on SwiftData. I have it ready here for me. We're gonna import the Swift, instead of foundation, SwiftData. Okay, so the row is ready for us. Okay, when we pass node one to many, for example, this model, we know that actually we're gonna have more than one category that it belongs to. You know, the category belongs to node. Okay, and we will iterate it and show it as a card in the list. Um, we have an extension as no, we don't have an extension. We have an time added date time added to a formatted variable here. Basically, it is a store property with transit. So speaking of transit, actually, I wanted to mention about these transit variables with within the SwiftData, but I'm gonna have a detailed episode about these transit variables. But um, let's create it and let's see it. I mean, I will give you a clue how how it works basically, and what is it used for. But I'm gonna, as I said, I'm gonna have a separate episode for this. Date time added formatted, and string is gonna return string and return date time added dot format date. This is where we have a format date actually, the extension for of the date, which returns a string for us, which was created in the very first episode. But I'm gonna change the format here as well, because I'm gonna add, I want to show the time as well. So formatter time style as short, so we will have the short time style as well from the date. But as I said, this is just the date time added actually. This is not related with the task. We will create one more variable, or we're gonna change this variable, the aim of this variable actually to show the specific date for this specific created task when it's going to be completed, for example. Okay, so the transit, what is important about transit is not saved. It's a stored property and it's not saved to the database. So when we are going to save this node one-to-many object into the container, into the by using context, this transit property won't be kept in memory as a column actually for the specific object. Okay, so we are having a stored property to return actually the formatted date for more human readable version of this item. So we have an okay, let's build our project and see if it's building. Yes, it's building. And secondly, we're gonna fill up our node list one-to-many view. Again, the view is ready, so I want to not take your time. I don't want to take your time, so I'll just copy and paste it. Nothing is really special. It's not. Nothing is really different than the other implementation. Okay, we have duplicated import SwiftUI. So here are our queries, you know, as mentioned at the beginning of the video. These are queries with predicate, actually with the rules that returns us the completed and incompleted tasks separately. We are importing context because we are deleting items as well, for deleting and saving. And also I have this adding an task with a multiple categories. We're gonna add this one as well. Okay, we have selected categories, so this will be passed to the child view as a binding, so that we can save the categories after dismissed, or you know, of this multiple categories view. And the rest is on save and on cancel. For example, when we show this add item with multiple categories view. When it is cancelled, it is dismissed actually, or when save button is clicked, it will call this function with the completion actually. So I'm gonna add this view as well here. Add item with multiple categories view, and the UI is ready again. So I'm gonna just copy and paste it here. As I said, the aim of the episodes or videos are to specifically focus on how SwiftData works basically. And we have a radio button basically for the selection. For multiple selection, I created a radio button item, radio button. Don't worry, I will go through the code to explain you at least the minor functionality. So let's build our project. You see if it is building. It's built successfully. So we're gonna set the not list one-to-many view as a first view inside the app, and just gonna comment out this one, and this not list one-to-many view will be our first view after the application launches. Build succeeded, and I would like to actually give you descriptions about what we have achieved so far, but I want to show you how it works. Okay, we currently don't have any item either under to do or neither on the under the done section, because this is a new objects that we created, new models. So those are a new empty columns within the database. So let's say we're gonna enter a new node, review the code for junior devs. Okay, and it's work related, but it also can be important. So when we click on save, it will be saved with two categories: work and important. Review the code for junior devs, and it's under to do basically. And we can mark it as done, as mentioned before, or we can revert it back to do, or we can delete it completely. Okay, this is the aim actually of this video, to show you how we can create the one-to-many relationship. For the UI, I'll give you a short information what comes from where and how we have achieved it basically. And if you need any further information, please let me know. I can provide you detailed information, but you will be able to find the source code in GitHub under my profile. And speaking of my GitHub profile, I want to show my GitHub profile as well here. If you write if you write GitHub, and this is my profile, and under repositories you can find SwiftData series, and this is a specific branch for this series. Okay, and let me push the code. So I want to push the code for you so that you can reach this specific repository that I mentioned. I'm using Git Kraken for this specifically, and let's see. Here is the changes. I'll show you now. Just a minute. So we're gonna stage all changes and implementation one-to-many relationship. Okay, so that you can reach. to source code. Okay, we need to pull apparently cancel and pull, and we create a readme file. That's why we forgot to pull and push now. For you, I create a readme file for the specific repository. Let me show you that one as well. Here it is. So it mentions what we have achieved, what we have done, about the repository and about the series. You can give it a read if you want to. And basically our code is in GitHub now. And one more last thing before we go and end this video, I want to show you the UI. This UI is we created not this one-to-many view. Basically it contains two sections, like one-to-one relationship for the node list view, as actually same as node list view. It holds in one toolbar item that presents the modal, actually add item with multiple categories view. We are passing selected categories a new item, which is a string. We write the content of the task, basically. That's why we are passing this as a state variable, binding actually from the parent view. And when the save is clicked, the save function is called. Now I wanted to what we could do also, we could include this piece of code here, but I wanted to have a specific method to handle this for better code quality. So what we do is, if the new item, the string actually, the content of the created, or the task is not empty, we're gonna have the node by default is done is false, because we are adding it under the to-do list to the section. And we go through selected categories and we map them to category one-to-many object by using this constructor. Okay, and we are passing the raw value of the selected category, which is actually the type of categories in an array. And if it's empty, we are setting it by default to be personal, and it belongs to this created specific node. So we are passing the node as a belongs to object, so that category one-to-many model is aware of the task that it belongs to. Okay, this belongs to this specific created node. So we are passing the instance, and for each category, okay, we are going through for each category and inserting it to the context, and we are saving the context. Again, be aware of that we are not saying that context.insert node, because only saving the categories is also by default is giving us saving functionality or facility of created node. Okay, this is just because of the relationship we created, and the rest is do try and catch. We will have a better error handling in the following episodes. Actually, for the next episode I will handle these errors as well and show the alert. And we are emptying the selected categories after the onSave is completed, and presenting model is toggled. So it's in order to show the present model, we have a sheet is presented, and this will be false, so that it will be dismissed. And if you click on cancel, we are again presenting model will be false in order to dismiss the model. in the not row view one to many, this is actually the child view of the list of the parent of the sections. Okay, we iterated to do nodes and done nodes, and we are passing the child view as a content. So we are passing the node one to many node model that is created and iterated. um, this is just a V stack. We are showing the text and we are showing the categories as shown here. For example, again, let me create one more task. Please read some book, for example. This is personal. When we save it, obviously we save it with the one category. So what I was talking about, these are categories actually iterated to be shown on the card. But let's create another task so that it will be showing the more than one task. Washing the dishes, personal, and it's important, and yeah, categories are more than one, sorry. And this is a hate stack. If it is done, it's showing us done, or if it's not done, it's showing us to do. As I mentioned, these are achieved with the ternary operator in the previous episode. So let's mark it as a done so that we can have one example as done and one example in the to do item under the to do section. So yeah, you see it's changed, so it's under done, and that's it. Actually the rest is just deleting the node. This is just a swipe action to delete node. It's again a function which handles the node and saves the changes. We'll have a better handlation of the errors. Okay, and the radio button here, we have a radio button child view. This is not for this one, sorry. This is for here. Okay, this is just for multiple choice. Okay, and also this is presented by the parent view here in the node one to many view actually. Okay, not list one to many view. If you have any questions, please make a comment below. I will try my best to answer it. And also, if you have any specific content after completing this data series that you want me to cover, I would like to take a consideration about a specific topic and take a series about it. And that's it from me. Please, if you have liked my content and my videos, if you find them useful, again, please make a comment. If you have any comments for improvement, please let me know, and please do not forget to subscribe actually. And I see you in the next episode.